sponsors the weather on GB News.
Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Good evening to you. We've had a Met Office amber rain warning in place through the day across parts of South Wales and other rain yellow warnings across parts of Western Britain. It has been a very soggy start to December, but the rain is now starting to ease in the west. These weather fronts are moving through, but still a band of pretty intense rain working from west to east over the next few hours before that finally starts to head out into the North Sea. Further outbreaks of rain to come and go across parts of Scotland, but many areas becoming much drier overnight with some clearer skies. That will allow the temperatures to dip to 5 or 6 degrees in towns and cities, a little lower in the countryside. It does mean a bright start to Tuesday. In fact, overall, a much brighter day tomorrow. Certainly for the Midlands and Eastern England, we'll see some sunshine. Maybe a few breaks in the cloud coming through to parts of Scotland. Also, some wet weather across the Northern Isles initially, and showers will come into Western Scotland all day. Elsewhere, we'll be looking at showers developing also. A few, maybe for the west of Northern Ireland, certainly around the coasts of Western England and Wales, and along the south coast, there'll be some showers to start off with. And as we go through the day, those showers will tend to creep inland as well. So although not as wet as today in South Wales and southwest England, obviously any rain falling here onto the saturated ground is likely to cause further problems. But the rain, at least a bit more hit and miss in the form of showers, and certainly much in the Midlands, Eastern England, good part of Eastern Scotland, through the central belt, dry and bright for the most part. A little cooler than today, but we'll have a bit more sunshine, and the winds will be lighter as well. Wednesday is also a case of sunshine and showers, and again, most of the showers will be focused in western areas, particularly Western Scotland. Good chance that Eastern England will stay dry and bright. And again, nothing like as heavy the rain across parts of Wales and southwest England as today. Temperatures, again, mostly 7 to 10 or 11 degrees Celsius, about average for this time of year.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's the big one. Your chance to win a whopping £85,000 in tax-free cash. The largest cash prize we've given away to date. That's like over £7,000 a month extra in your bank account each month for 12 whole months. That's a year of yes. Yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to shopping trips, yes to home improvements. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dawdney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
We love Great Britain. We love its history, its culture and its tradition, and that's why we're so proud to be part of GB News.
You look genuinely emotional. Oh, come here.
GB News does pay attention to those who are ignored by the mainstream media. The majority of this country whose forefathers fought and died to maintain liberty, to fight for freedom of speech.
The rule of law, the rights of property and democracy. This is the heritage that our country should be so proud of.
Which of course includes our Christian heritage. There's been a huge resurgence in the number of people going to church. Perhaps they're not finding what they're looking for, and they're looking for something a bit deeper, a bit more truthful, a bit more akin to Britain's Christian heritage.
That's right, get ready, because the most exciting night in general election history starts now!
It's 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight,
Lies, 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 lie upon lie, lie.
well, pressure mounts on Starmer and Reeves to go over the budget lies. And
my name is Joseph. I use she, they pronouns.
Thank you. Amy Leather. My pronouns are she, her.
Hello, my name's Mix Billy Gibson and I'm a non-binary person.
Corbyn and Sultana's Your Party conference got off to a flyer.
How do we get it? Straight! What do we want? How do we get it? Straight!
Doctors will strike again just before Christmas. And Palestine protesters disrupt London's Christmas market, but it's not just Britain. They've done it all over Europe. Is Christianity under attack? Plus, a migrant suspected of a bomb plot that killed 269 people has overturned the Home Office's decision to block his asylum claim. And a trans child molester claimed that the jury was hypnotised after being found guilty. But find out what the judge did that was so shocking. On my panel tonight, we have got Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, journalist Benjamin Butterworth, and Reform member, former Tory party chairman Sir Jake Berry. I tell you what, before we start, let's just check in with how things are going on down at the mosque.
They asked him, why'd you turn gay? He said, I slept with so many girls, I got bored. So I ended up, I wanted to try men now. So he started trying men. Look at all these artists, I told you. Them men are walking around with rainbow hair. You got gangsters.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. The Muslim community and the trans community have finally fallen out. Next.
Very good evening. It's just gone 9 o'clock. These are your latest headlines. The top story this evening, the chair of the Office of Budget Responsibility, Richard Hughes, has resigned. In a letter sent to Rachel Reeves and the chair of the Treasury Select Committee, Hughes says that he wants to ensure that the OBR gets the chance to quickly move on from this regrettable incident. It comes after the watchdog this afternoon published a report urging an immediate change to its leadership after it mistakenly released an analysis of the budget early. Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch has accused the Chancellor of using Mr Hughes as a human shield and has called on Rachel Reeves to resign.
The fact is, this has now turned into a political crisis for the Prime Minister and his Chancellor. This is a classic example of do as I say, not do as I do.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister is pressing ahead with a major welfare reform drive, arguing that the current system is trapping young people outside the workforce and holding back economic growth. He says that the budget was a moment of personal pride after scrapping the two-child benefit cap, a move expected to lift around 450,000 children out of poverty. But the political pressure is far from over. Labour is still fending off claims that it misled its voters about the scale of financial challenge after Rachel Reeves confirmed that £26 billion would be raised in taxes. Elsewhere, resident doctors in England will go on strike from December the 17th until the 22nd. Sharing the news on social media this afternoon, the British Medical Association said that they gave the government a window to deliver sufficient progress on a deal, but that didn't happen. Experts expect pressure on services to be intense and the surging flu cases and staff sickness, but the medics say that they have had no choice but to return to the picket lines. Meanwhile, Christmas is on its way as Downing Street has turned on its Christmas lights. The light switch on featured a 19-foot Norway spruce from the Cadbury Tree Trust in Leicestershire. A community hero, Sam, was given the honour of pressing the big red button, while the Prime Minister hosted a Christmas market-style showcase celebrating small firms and community champions. Small businesses are set for a bumper festive season, with spending up 19% on last year, which could provide an extra £5 billion boost. And if social media is making your blood boil, you might be the victim of rage bait. That's Oxford's word of the year. The phrase describes posts designed purely to provoke outrage and to drive clicks. The use of rage bait has tripled in the past year, reflecting what linguists say is a shift from curiosity-driven clickbait to algorithms amplifying anger. It beat aura farming and biohack to the top title, while Cambridge chose parasocial and Collins went for vibe coding, all capturing the strains of life lived online. Those are the latest GB News headlines for now. More from me in an hour, but now it's back to Patrick.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Good evening. The left in Britain is now finding out that large sections of the Muslim community and the LGBTQ+ community don't like each other. The Your Party conference has been a comical disaster. It seems like most people took to the stage and announced their pronouns.
My name is Joseph. I use she, they pronouns, and I come from West Yorkshire. I recently moved to Edinburgh.
Thank you. Amy Leather, my pronouns are she, her. I'm from Manchester. I am speaking for option B, for collective leadership.
Hello, my name's Mick Bailey Gibson and I'm a non-binary person. Give it up for the trans people, everybody!
Then speakers accused the party of transphobia.
When this party started, it included 2 MPs who were openly transphobic, one of whom was a landlord.
It will allow transphobic and racist and otherwise bigoted candidates to stand in the name of your party. As we have seen with the 2 MPs who recently resigned.
We stand up for trans rights, not attack trans people. And if we're a party saying we're against racism, we're for all refugees to be welcome. That has to mean something in absolute reality.
In the run-up to the conference, 2 Muslim MPs, Adnan Hussein and Iqbal Mohammed, resigned, citing a toxic culture against Muslim men amid reports of clashes over their, quote, gender-critical beliefs. Now, a prominent Muslim journalist and activist posted this on social media after watching the big trans fallout unfolding at the conference. Said the tiny insignificant minority of trans activists appear to be hell-bent on destroying the Your Party's chances of achieving any level of success. The UK's Muslim vote has the power to win multiple seats across the country. The alphabet mafia has the power to win a big fat 0. Your Party has a choice. Go woke, go broke, or accommodate religious Muslims' right to free speech. This is a thing of beauty. Another glorious moment was Jeremy Corbyn being hounded for not being anti-Zionist enough. It gets better. Some people say that full-blown socialism will never work because there'll always be too much infighting. Well, here we go. It looks like the membership already don't like whoever the leaders are.
We have been proven time and time again here that we cannot trust those who are in the positions of power and leadership in this organisation up until now. They have failed us, comrades.
Many examples of hardcore socialism in the past tell us that it can turn into somewhat of a dictatorship. And with that in mind, some members alleged that they've already started expelling people without giving them a reason.
I joined your party like all you did. In the summer, inspired. I built it, I paid my direct debit. You know what happened to me yesterday at 4 p.m? Email telling me I was expelled. No discussion collectively here. I have come because I don't accept that. I think we want collective decision-making running through, and this conference decides who's a member and who is not a member. We've heard the Greens might be allowed in. Why not the Socialist Worker Party?
Just in case you weren't clear on how dysfunctional the Your Party is, the two main people, Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana, reportedly just don't get on. And Sultana took a dig at Corbyn on stage, and he wasn't very happy about it.
These actions come straight out of the Labour Rights Handbook, the same playbook we have all lived through for years. The witch hunts, the smears, the intimidation, the bullying, the legal threats and the leaks to the Murdoch.
All of this culminated in them being played out to a rendition of Imagine by John Lennon.
You may say I'm a dreamer. Where are you going now? Where do you live now? But I'm not the only one.
Beautiful. Look, the main takeaway here is this. The hard left spent years courting the Muslim community and the pro-trans community. They are now finding out in real time that there are vast swathes of the Muslim community who don't like the trans community. Maybe this should be a lesson to some of the LGBTQ+ brigade. Perhaps they've been calling the wrong people fascists for a good few years now. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. Daily Express columnist Carol Malone. We've also got journalist Benjamin Butterworth and the former chair of the Tory party, now Reform member Sir Jake Berry. So, Carol, it turns out that there are quite large aspects of the Muslim community who don't really like the trans community, and we're seeing that happen in real time now.
I was just looking at that. I can't help but laugh at every single one of those speakers I saw, because you wouldn't want them anywhere near your politics. I couldn't take any of those people seriously, not because they're trans, not because they're whatever. It's because they shouldn't be taken seriously. When you're standing on stage trying to address people in a woolly bobber hat, I can't be taken you seriously. But anyway, much more importantly, this party is they're just a washed-up load of old commies, basically, with nowhere else to go. You know, when this party started, it's taken them since their inception to agree on a name. So God knows how they're going to agree on a party. Which is now your party, which was their temporary name, but it's taken them almost a year to decide that's going to be the permanent name. And there's so much argy-bargy going. So imagine when they actually get to policy, when they're trying to decide policy. I mean, it's just laughable. There was a real chance for this party, I thought, at the start. It was worrying for me, but I just thought there was a chance it could succeed. Having seen that lot, it's got no chance whatsoever of succeeding. I think they've only got something like 50,000 members. They thought they were going to get something up to, I think it was 200,000.
They said they had 800,000 people who signed up.
Yes, they have, but some of them have gone now. And also, Zara Sultana and Corbyn hate each other. They can't agree on anything. Even at the conference, they held separate meetings of launch meetings in separate rooms in separate places. She says this is going to be what she calls it a mass democratic movement for change. There's hardly going to be that with 50,000 members, and there's hardly going to be that if they can't decide on anything.
Jay, you want to come in on what a car crash your party's been, but before you do that, would you like to announce your pronouns?
Yes, sir. All right, Honourable, you can use them interchangeably. Look, I mean, I just feel really sorry for all the villagers up and down the country who are missing their idiot for the day. I mean, what a ridiculous conference. So, first of all, Zara Sultana formed this party with Jeremy Corbyn. She then boycotted her own inaugural party conference for the first day because she'd fallen out with half the people in it because they wanted to exclude people from the Socialist Workers' Party who are now apparently allowed back in. And, you know, what I find so interesting, and I think we might have some applicants here, is they're not going to have a leader. So Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana set this up so they could lead their own political party, then fell out with each other because they couldn't work out which one of them should be leader. The membership then rejected both of them, and they've gone for a committee of 28 members, leaders, so they will have 28 leaders. Now, I'm just thinking if Carol and I...
Yeah.
We could apply, Carol.
We could, actually. Yeah, we could.
Be,
I think we'd do a better job than them. But the thing is, they wouldn't like our policies either. I mean, this is like, you know, this is leadership by Politburo. It's a joke.
It is, it's bonkers.
It's an absolute joke.
But just on this, you know, to the kind of core of this, for quite some time now, people with a brain have been raising the issue of more conservative members of the Islamic faith in Britain and their views when it comes to both LGB and the T issues here. And now we are seeing that in real time, aren't we? Where basically the progressives, the kind of, you know, woke rainbow bobble-hatted brigade, are finding out that they are not really welcome down at the mosque.
I mean, look, it turns out a hatred of Israel isn't enough to hold together a movement, and that's about the only thing those people have in common. So the last couple of years have made them feel like friends, but really they're foes. I think one of the really interesting things it shows is that, you know, much of the Muslim community and sort of the black Christian community in this country as well is pretty socially conservative, more than, you know, the median voter. And so why is it that conservatives haven't been able to win those people over? I think that's what this exposes, that, you know, that actually lots of those people should be voting for someone like, God forbid, Jake Berry. And yet they've not taken that. So maybe if the right was just a bit less racist and a bit less xenophobic, these people would be in their camp.
Well, they haven't had their opportunities to vote for me yet, but you never know what happens. But look,
so you're saying there will be?
No, I said they haven't. I said you never know. Come on, you need to keep up.
But I think it just slipped out.
What's interesting about this is this is a true Trotskyite movement, and Trotskyite movements, because of the nature of their belief system, just always fall out with each other. And, you know, this is... I mean, this is not going to be a mainstream political party. And in a way, the people who will be really nervous about this having gone so badly will be the Labour Party, because this gives the Greens an open field to go out and recruit people of the left, and they are nipping at the heels of the Labour Party. If you had a split left-wing vote, they couldn't really challenge the Labour Party, but this is now irrelevant.
That jumps out for me in all of this, which is that if Nigel Farage had, Kemi Badenoch, whoever, had come out and done all of the gender-critical stuff, and indeed, so obviously some people in Reform and some people in the Tories have done over the years. Rosie Duffield as well was a Labour MP, and she classed as independent now, but anyway, whatever. You know, it's come out and basically there's only two genders. I don't really believe in the trans stuff. You know, they were called, you know, fascists and all of this stuff, but actually those views are very, very, very common in the Muslim community. And now we're seeing... you know, do you think that the LGBT lot have been calling the wrong people fascists for quite a long time? And actually, it's those people that they've been courting, and they're now falling out with them.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely right. You know, there was a poll a couple of months ago, an Ipsos poll, that said 1 in 5 people thought they might want to join your party because of what they were saying they were going to represent. But having seen that today, I think their inaugural conference will have scuppered their chances of ever being taken seriously, even by the trans brigade and by Muslims.
Well,
no one's going to take
why don't they
seriously.
protest? See, this is the thing. You know, you see these protests, don't you, at events that people do. Like, was it Kathleen Stock, I think, was speaking at Oxford and/or Cambridge. You know, huge protests outside there. You know, I'm sorry, but should there not? I'm not calling for this, by the way. But you know, by the same logic, surely there should be protests at events where, you know, there is a huge Muslim representation.
Well, it gets worse than that, doesn't it? Because GBNews actually reported on the LGBTQ for Gaza movement. And I remember watching the coverage was on this channel, and so, you know, people pointing out to me is, you know, that Israel actually gives asylum to people who are gay, who happen to live in Gaza, who are being murdered by Hamas. But, you know, the facts don't seem to actually interfere in any way with people's belief. And, you know, I think the challenge is that even though there is this huge problem at the centre of your party, people will just keep on going.
You know, I was in an Arab part of Israel in June, and there was a Palestinian refugee there, and he said the only place that as a gay Palestinian that I get rights in the whole of the Middle East is Israel, which is a bit that's completely omitted from the way these people see the world. Look, I think the Labour Party won't be worried by this. As Jake says, there's nothing that thrills the current Labour leadership than seeing Jeremy Corbyn be useless because their politics are defined against him. There was a story in The Guardian at the weekend, I'm sure you read it, that said that they had 4 MPs and 6 factions by the time this conference started. So I think, you know, the Green Party is the ones that will benefit from this. Zap Palansky has really taken the mantle.
You're not going to be confronted by some of the exact same issues, though, because you've got people like you know, I don't want to put words in his mouth or anything like that, but Mothin Ali, who is the co-deputy leader, who I believe is what would you say, maybe more conservative when it comes to gender issues, right? As are, like, literally tens of millions, hundreds of millions of Muslims worldwide. There's nothing particularly controversial about that. But again, the Green Party membership, yeah, that's all about LGBT rights, isn't it? So how does that work?
Well, yeah, I mean, Zap Palansky, their leader, is very pro on those things.
Well, he's
a homosexual, yes.
Yeah. Well, so how does that work?
I can confirm that one.
This is the thing, though, isn't it?
I think they will have a problem. But look, you know, I think you should stand up to those parts of the Muslim community because it is a bigotry no matter where it's coming from. That doesn't make attacking Muslims or attacking refugees fair game. But if they say that a gay person is an equal or trans person, then that is wrong and you should challenge it.
OK. All right, well, look, we'll keep you updated on every single movement that comes out of your party. I will just say this, look, you know, as a basic principle, one of the things there is, look, we've obviously taken the mick a little bit there, but as a basic principle, genuinely, you know, it is good just to see everyone being politically involved, and there is obviously a place in politics for people like Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana. They're allowed to do this stuff. I would also say, are allowed to take the mick out of it. But there you go. Right, and well, here you go. This is going to be a brilliant thing for you, isn't it? It's an incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash. It's the latest, newest Great British giveaway. It could be all yours in the new year. It's like having £7 extra in your bank each month for the whole of 2026. You could be our biggest cash winner ever. Here's how.
It's the greatest cash prize of the Great British giveaway so far. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, making 2026 your greatest year to date. That could get you that brand new car, extend and improve your home, take you away on that bucket list holiday, or just give you some peace of mind over the coming months. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
All right, well, lots coming your way, including this. Well, the pro-Palestine mob were out over the weekend, swarming Christmas markets and blasting out the Islamic call to prayer all over European Christmas markets. So our Christian festival's under attack, but before that, campaigners have urged the government to introduce a 4-day working week for teachers. Yes, they've got gold-plated pensions, months of holidays, inflation-busting pay rises. Do teachers really deserve a 4-day week? That's next.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversations.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
But trust matters. How can our viewers trust anything you say?
Well, Chris, I simply don't accept the starting proposition. I'm really sorry.
Oof. OK, so this is Patrick Christys tonight. And that, of course, was the Prime Minister trying to diffuse accusations that he lied about the need for tax rises in the budget. More on that at 10 p.m. But first, should teachers be given a 4-day week? It's time now for the head-to-head. All right, so if you're a parent, you might want to brace yourself, because campaigners are now urging the government to trial a 4-day school week. So the 4-Day Week Foundation has written to the Education Secretary to ask for schools to be allowed to give their staff 1 extra day off a week. The campaign group wants all full-time teachers to reduce to a 4-day week for the same pay, to reduce burnout. Now, Britain's largest teaching union, the NEU, will also ballot members for strikes next year. That's despite being handed an inflation-busting 6.5% pay rise, and strikes heaped misery onto some parents back in 2023. So tonight I am asking, should teachers get a 4-day week? We're going head-to-head on this now. The head teacher at LVS Ascot, Christine Cunniff, and the campaign manager for the 4-Day Week Foundation, James Reeves. Thank you very much, both of you. Christine, I'll start with you. Should teachers be given a 4-day week?
Absolutely not.
Well, go on, why not?
Because we're there for the children. Children need to be in school 5 days a week, and it's bad enough at the moment. You know, we've got so much to do, so much teaching to learn and learning to do. You know, if you even lose 1 hour, you never get that back. So, you know, there's so many reasons. Children need to be in school, they need the socialisation, the parents need to be able to go to work, and really, I can't see why we should go to a 4-day week.
All right, well, I think James is going to explain this for you now. So go on, mate. Why do you think they should have a 4-day week?
Yeah, sure. I mean, firstly, the 4-Day Week Foundation, we campaign for a 32-hour working week with no loss of pay for workers, and we want this to be the normal way of working for people in Britain by 2030, because we think that people need more time with their loved ones, with their families, in their communities. We think that's going to be really important to kind of rebuild the country to the place that we want to see it in. And part of why we think it's really important for teachers is because teachers are really struggling with their well-being. Education Support, a charity that looks after teacher well-being, reported that 76% of teachers are stressed at work. That rises to 86% of senior leaders. And many of those are reporting burnout and exhaustion at work. And because of that, teachers are leaving the profession in their droves. We've got a recruitment and retention crisis. And if we don't solve that, then these students aren't going to have the teachers that they need in order to thrive at school.
Just so we're clear on how this would work in your mind in practice then. So what would... Because the kids are still going to be in school for 5 days a week. So what you're suggesting is we hire more teachers?
It might be necessary to hire more teachers if you want all of the teachers in a particular school to be on a 4-day school week. But at the moment, we're losing so much money in what we're having to spend on retraining teachers who are in their early career. For example, 16 councils in Wales last year spent £78 million on agency staff.
OK.
That's a massive waste of money.
Oh, great, OK. Well, Christine, go on. Do you want to come back to that, then?
Yeah, absolutely. I just think that we're masking the real reasons why teachers don't want to be in the classroom. And I think we know there's national issues regarding behaviour, workload, accountability, marking, assessment, and maybe, and I'm very much for the well-being of my teachers, but they need to be in school. They need continuity of education for the children. So I get it, but I think what we're doing is we're detracting away from some of the key issues that have been noticed over the last couple of years about recruitment into the profession and also the retention of keeping them there.
How much holiday do teachers get? Because this is an important thing to drill down on, I think. I know a lot of people will be shouting at their TV screens now or radio sets, and they'll be saying, well, I don't get this amount of holiday. And also, what is the current pension setup like for teachers?
So it's really generous. I mean, there is that joke, why did you go into teaching? And some people go because of July and August. In an independent sector, in a school like mine, there's 17 weeks holiday a year. And that's hugely generous. And so, it is stressful while you're there. There is a lot to do, and children have to be taught, and you have to mark the books, and you have to make sure that they get to where they should be going. But you do have that time for your own downtime as well. And I think it's down to head teachers in the country to look at their schools and think, how can they make it the most pleasant experience for their staff, for their children, and get the best outcomes for everybody, and it can be done.
Well, do you want to come back to that? Because I personally, I do find the holiday argument quite compelling, and the pensions side of it quite compelling as well, in terms of, that teachers probably shouldn't get an extra day off. So would you like to come back to that?
I mean, my mum was a deputy head teacher for her entire career. I grew up in a single-parent household with a parent who was a teacher, and we did have nice 6-week summer holidays where we would go on trips together and spend time together, and it was lovely. But every single day of my life, my mum was coming home late from a really stressful job, and we didn't get to spend that much time week by week. But she raised me really well. I valued education, and I am so grateful for the upbringing that I have. But without the support of youth workers, without the support of after-school clubs, I wouldn't be where I am today. And if I'd have had more time with my mum in those periods where I was being cared for by my community and with other people around, I probably would have enjoyed that a little bit more. Not to say that I didn't enjoy my time with those youth workers. I'm a massive football player. I love playing football. I was raised by those people who kind of, gave me that opportunity to do sport, arts, culture, all of those kind of different things. So...
And you don't think they should get a pay cut for one extra day off?
No, we campaign for a 32-hour working week with no loss of pay for workers, because we really feel as though teachers have to do so much unseen work. So the DFE's own Working Lives of Teachers survey found that on average, a third of teachers report working 50-hour weeks. The maximum working time directive in this country is for a 48-hour maximum working week. So if you've got a third of teachers working more than the maximum working time directive, we've got a real issue and we need to cut workload.
I mean, I do wonder if this is a slight difference between the public and the private sector, not just in schools, I just mean generally, really. So we'd love final point to you on what James has just said.
Well, I'd just say my husband's self-employed and he will easily do a 16-hour day, and I've got 3 grown-up children who work in the city, and they're 16, 17 hours a day. I think teachers... It's a fantastic profession. I think it's got a lot to offer. It's down to the head teacher to get it right. It's not down to sacrifice a day out of school for the children. The children come first.
OK, all right, well, we'll have to keep our eyes and ears peeled for whether or not there's going to be a teacher. I mean, I think we all know there probably is going to be a teacher strike next year, but there we go. Thank you very much. Tremendous to have you both on the show. Coming up, well, despite the pleas of the victim, a judge has referred to a trans child sex offender using female pronouns. So has our judiciary been captured now by the trans lobby? But first... Yeah, some pretty fruity behaviour happening at Christmas markets all over Europe this weekend. So is the Christian festival under attack? All of that in a few minutes' time.
Be nice to escape the grey.
Clear skies, here we come.
As clear as our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Good evening to you. We've had a Met Office amber rain warning in place through the day across parts of South Wales and other rain yellow warnings across parts of Western Britain. It has been a very soggy start to December, but the rain is now starting to ease in the west. These weather fronts are moving through, but still a band of pretty intense rain working from west to east over the next few hours before that finally starts to head out into
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Good evening to you. We've had a Met Office amber rain warning in place through the day across parts of South Wales and other rain yellow warnings across parts of Western Britain. It has been a very soggy start to December, but the rain is now starting to ease in the west. These weather fronts are moving through, but still a band of pretty intense rain working from west to east over the next few hours before that finally starts to head out into the North Sea. Further outbreaks of rain to come and go across parts of Scotland, but many areas becoming much drier overnight with some clearer skies. That will allow the temperatures to dip to 5 or 6 degrees in towns and cities, a little lower in the countryside. It does mean a bright start to Tuesday. In fact, overall, a much brighter day tomorrow. Certainly for the Midlands and eastern England, we'll see some sunshine. Maybe a few breaks in the cloud coming through to parts of Scotland. Also, some wet weather across the Northern Isles initially, and showers will come into western Scotland all day. Elsewhere, we'll be looking at showers developing also. A few, maybe for the west of Northern Ireland, certainly around the coasts of western England and Wales, and along the south coast, there'll be some showers to start off with. And as we go through the day, those showers will tend to creep inland as well. So although not as wet as today in South Wales and southwest England, obviously any rain falling here onto the saturated ground is likely to cause further problems. But the rain, at least a bit more hit and miss in the form of showers, and certainly much in the Midlands, eastern England, good part of eastern Scotland, through the central belt, dry and bright for the most part. A little cooler than today, but we'll have a bit more sunshine and the winds will be lighter as well. Wednesday is also a case of sunshine and showers, and again most of the showers will be focused in western areas, particularly western Scotland. It's a good chance that eastern England will stay dry and bright, and again nothing like as heavy the rain across parts of Wales and southwest England as today. Temperatures again mostly 7 to 10 or 11 degrees Celsius, about average for this time of year.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Lies, 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 lie upon lies, lies, lies.
Well, there we go. The Prime Minister is under massive pressure over accusations that he lied about the budget. That's at 10 p.m. But first, the Christmas holidays might be just around the corner. But there's no stopping the pro-Palestine mob who were out in force this weekend, disrupting and taking over Christmas markets and events in central London. But it wasn't just the UK. They took to the streets in Brussels too. Wonder how Christmas is doing in Vienna. And in one festive German town today, the Islamic call to prayer was blasted out into a Christmas market.
Alles gut. Sehr weihnachtlich.
Lovely. I'm joined now down the line by Catholic commentator Caroline Farrow. Caroline, thank you very much. Is Christianity under attack in Europe?
Yes, I think it absolutely is. And I think it's coming from two fronts. So on the one hand, we've got years of Islamist terrorist threats against these Christmas markets. And then on the other, as we talked about the other week, Patrick, we've got our own institutions who are watering it down or even erasing anything explicitly Christian. So we've got this attack from two sides. And, we know that Christmas markets across Europe have been repeatedly targeted or plotted against by terrorists. We know this in Berlin, Strasbourg, foiled plots in Vienna, and police across Europe are now publicly warning that Christmas markets and pantomimes and Christmas events are vulnerable to terror attacks, and they're putting armed officers on patrol. And at the same time, schools and councils and museums in Britain are embarrassed by the word Christmas, and they're trying to sort of rebrand it as generic winter festivals. And I think we're the only civilization in history that needs concrete blocks to protect Christmas and then feels guilty for having it in the first place. And, I think when we talk about these marches that are happening at the weekend in London, we've seen reports of streets being flooded with demonstrators. If you're a mum with kids and you're just going to see the lights or to see Santa or Winter Wonderland, and you're walking through thousands of masked, angry demonstrators, it doesn't feel like peaceful coexistence. It feels like your festival or our festival is being drowned out, and the public square is being ceded to the loudest and the most aggressive voices.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've rightly identified two separate things there, I think. The first one is the very aggressive, radical Islamist terror attack, which is very much a thing, and that's why we need concrete bollards everywhere now, and that's why we have things like armed police going around Christmas market in places like Guildford in Surrey and all of that. So there's that aspect of it. This, obviously, the stuff that we're seeing here now is a bit different, isn't it? This is the pro-Palestine brigade, and, OK, some people might say that there might be a crossover in terms of some of their more fundamentalist beliefs, but we don't know that about all of them. But when it comes to things like, celebrations for Ramadan, for example, those things are absolutely sacrosanct. You wouldn't get Anglicans or Catholics marching through there with crosses, would you? Or even, dare I say it as well, actually, members of the Jewish community marching through with Israel flags and everything. So why is it OK for those people right across Europe this weekend to go and steam on through a Christmas market?
Well, it's not. And I think certainly in the UK as well, we've seen the police bend over backwards to balance their rights against these, when it's these huge, intimidating marches, often saying very angry, very aggressive and quite hateful things, expressing sentiments that makes the Jewish community understandably very frightened. And yet the police bend over backwards to balance rights when these huge marches. But when it's small Christian gatherings or even people quietly praying, then the state's far less patient. We see Christian preacher after Christian preacher being arrested, being moved on, told you can't read from the Bible here. There was a case the other week of a guy with a van saying, Jesus loves and forgives. And the police said, oh, well, I think you better move along here. This could be hate speech. And yet when it's this really aggressive, a militant, pro-Palestine march, they bend over backwards to help them. It is a real double standard. And I think as well, there is a hint of a sort of terror here in that we've got to get rid of Christmas. We've got to downplay Christmas because, not everybody is Christian.
There's also, Caroline, sorry to cut across, but I think there's also an attempt at domination here, which I think we need to just be quite open about. I mean, in some of the examples that we've played there, it would appear from the video that we played about one of the smaller places in Germany, it would appear that there's an Islamic call to prayer going on there during a Christmas market. Why do you need to do that? That's the thing I don't quite get. I mean, do you think that there is an attempt at domination here?
Yes, I do. I do, and it's funny because, well, it's not funny, but I think it is. It's cultural dominance. It's, you know, it's not we're in a Christian country. We're in a Western country. We're going to abide by Western traditions. No, it's like we are going to impose our own culture. And when we talk about, say, laws, we have in the UK the Public Order Act, and are you going to do anything that you could reasonably foresee will cause alarm and distress? Now, it's very foreseeable that if there's Christians who are having a explicitly Christian celebration, and then another group is going to come in and have a call to prayer and have a completely countercultural or, you know, counterfaith demonstration, for want of a better word, of course that's going to cause alarm and distress. It is a sign of intimidation. It is a sign of dominance, and it's you know, I think we can see the public square really being fought over at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also unquestionably, in some of the ones that we played, especially from continental Europe there, perhaps less so the street lights in London, where, you know, you could argue that's a place where people just go to do their Christmas shopping, but certainly the ones more from continental Europe, I think that's a deliberate provocation, and that's something that, almost like using our sense of free speech and our sense of, you know, multicultural liberal values against us, really, which I do find a little bit disrespectful, to say the least. But thank you very much. It is always a pleasure, and if I don't see you before then, happy Christmas as well. Catholic commentator Caroline Farrow. All right, take care. Thank you.
Happy Christmas when it comes. It's Advent. We're still waiting.
All right, OK, sorry. All right, OK, yeah, all right, OK. Coming up at 10 p.m, we've got a bit of this.
Lies, 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 lie upon lies, lies.
Well, pressure's mounting on the Prime Minister and the Chancellor this evening to go over the budget lies. But could this be terminal now for the government? I'll find out at 10. Before that, though, look, just a ridiculous, horrific story, this. Despite the pleas of the victim, a judge referred to a vile trans child sex offender using female pronouns. Has our judiciary been captured by the trans lobby? That's next.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, this is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here with GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Lies, 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 lie upon lies, lies, lies.
Well, very shortly we're going to get to that mounting pressure over accusations that Starmer and Reeves lied about the budget, including, by the way, apparently to their own cabinet colleagues. But first, a trans sex offender who claimed a jury was hypnotised into giving him a guilty verdict has been jailed for 3.5 years. Well, he goes by the name Natalie Wolfe. Obviously, real name's Ryan Haley. He sexually assaulted a 13-year-old girl. He previously claimed that his conviction was as a result of a conspiracy that involved the jury, police and lawyers being hypnotised. In a statement to the court, the victim said, "I am doing this not just for me, but for all the children and women who have been sexually abused by men. Ryan Haley wants everyone to know him as Natalie Wolfe, but in my eyes, he is Ryan Haley, the man who sexually abused me." But despite the victim's statement there, the trans molester was referred to with female pronouns throughout the court proceedings. I'm joined now by the Chief Executive of Sex Matters, Maya Forstater. Maya, thank you very, very much. So has the judiciary here been captured by the trans lobby then?
Well, not all of it, but this court certainly seemed to put the feelings of a child molester over the feelings of the victim. There was no reason why they needed to call Ryan she. They have something called the Equal Treatment Bench Book, which gives judges guidance on how they should treat all different kinds of people. And it used to be terrible. In the last few years, it's got better. It used to tell them you must call everyone by their preferred pronouns. And now it says there can be good reasons not to. But somehow this judge seemed to overlook that and call this child abuser she.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by the psychology there, really, because as you've said, you've got the victim who was 13 years old at the time saying, look, this is a bloke called Ryan, who is also, by the way, clearly a monster and a predator. And yet the judge said, well, it's a she. It's a she. But he's gone to a male prison, I'm assuming.
Yes, he has. And
okay.
The jury found him guilty. The jury saw through all that, and he should have been referred to as a man throughout and by the press.
Yeah, it just seems absolutely ridiculous. So I've got some more detail here, right, which is that at Newcastle Crown Court, they heard that the victim feared that she would be raped by Wolfe, who now identifies as a woman but was known as Ryan Haley at the time. And again, I would politely suggest to the court, or to the judge in this case, with what part of his body was he going to do that rape, right? Because that would tell you everything you need to know about whether or not this is a man or a woman, surely.
It's absolutely atrocious. And for a 13-year-old girl to have to give evidence, the bravery of her to do that should have been the primary concern of the judges, to allow her to give her evidence, which is the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, which is that this is a man.
Yeah, and again, is this a particular judge who appears again to be ignoring the Supreme Court ruling, doesn't it? That basically, there are two genders, there are men and women, and it's what you're born as which matters.
I don't know anything about the particular judge, and they did say that this was a man, but they used the she pronouns because that's what this person asked to be used. And they don't have to do that. The guidance to judges says you don't have to use preferred pronouns, particularly where it's a case like this.
Oh, so that was a direct choice then, because I know some people are saying, well, Labour haven't actually issued a definitive set of guidance yet, but from your perspective, this was a definitive choice by a judge to. And I thought you used a really, really good line there at the start of your first answer, which is that to preserve the wishes of a child sex offender over the victim.
Yes, I mean, the Equal Treatment Bench book is produced by judges for judges, so it's not a government document, but it is part of the judicial system, and it has got better over the years. Each time they brought one out, they've moved further and further away from this idea of gender identity. But, you know, it depends when the judge had their training, and it may depend on who's in the judge's family or you know, for some reason they thought this was the right thing to do. You get different things across different courts, and as the Supreme Court said, men are men and women are women.
It's also worth noting that this person doesn't appear to have shown any remorse whatsoever. I'll reiterate again that they seem to think that everyone, including the courts, the prison service, the barristers, the solicitor, the police, members of their own family and indeed other people, were in some way hypnotised to give them a guilty verdict. So there we are. Maya, thank you very much. Maya Forstater there, who's the Chief Executive of Sex Matters. Right, look, coming up, pressure is mounting big time this evening on the Prime Minister and the Chancellor to go over the budget lies. Could it be terminal? Plus, a migrant suspected of a bomb plot that killed 269 people has overturned the Home Office decision to block his asylum claim. All that and more.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Good evening to you. We've had a Met Office amber rain warning in place through the day across parts of South Wales and other rain yellow warnings across parts of Western Britain. It has been a very soggy start to December, but the rain is now starting to ease in the west. These weather fronts are moving through, but still a band of pretty intense rain working from west to east over the next few hours before that finally starts to head out into the North Sea. Further outbreaks of rain to come and go across parts of Scotland, but many areas becoming much drier overnight with some clearer skies. That will allow the temperatures to dip to 5 or 6 degrees in towns and cities, a little lower in the countryside. It does mean a bright start to Tuesday. In fact, overall, a much brighter day tomorrow. Certainly for the Midlands and Eastern England, we'll see some sunshine. Maybe a few breaks in the cloud coming through to parts of Scotland. Also, some wet weather across the Northern Isles initially, and showers will come into Western Scotland all day. Elsewhere, we'll be looking at showers developing also. A few, maybe for the west of Northern Ireland, certainly around the coasts of Western England and Wales, and along the south coast, there'll be some showers to start off with. And as we go through the day, those showers will tend to creep inland as well. So although not as wet as today in South Wales and South West England, obviously any rain falling here onto the saturated ground is likely to cause further problems. But the rain, at least a bit more hit and miss in the form of showers, and certainly much in the Midlands, Eastern England, good part of Eastern Scotland, through the Central Belt, dry and bright for the most part. A little cooler than today, but we'll have a bit more sunshine, and the winds will be lighter as well. Wednesday is also a case of sunshine and showers, and again, most of the showers will be focused in western areas, particularly Western Scotland. Good chance that Eastern England will stay dry and bright. And again, nothing like as heavy the rain across parts of Wales and southwest England as today. Temperatures, again, mostly 7 to 10 or 11 degrees Celsius, about average for this time of year.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's the greatest cash prize of a Great British giveaway so far. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, making 2026 your greatest year to date. That could get you that brand new car, extend and improve your home, take you away on that bucket list holiday, or just give you some peace of mind over the coming months. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
It's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight.
Lies, 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 lie upon lie, lie.
Pressure is mounting on Starmer and Reeves to go over the budget lies and...
How do we get it? Strike! What do we want? How do we get it? Strike!
Doctors have today announced that they will strike again just before Christmas. Plus... A migrant suspected of a bomb plot that killed 269 people has overturned the Home Office's decision to block his asylum claim. And there's some crackers on the front pages this evening. Breaking on the front page of the Daily Telegraph, 1 in 3 pupils in Glasgow don't speak English as their first language. Remarkable, that, isn't it? And also breaking on the front page of The Guardian, well, the controversial Attorney General Lord Hermer has urged Nigel Farage to apologise now over claims that he was anti-Semitic at school. Interesting, I wonder if Lord Hermer would like to apologise for some of the people that he's chose to represent over the years. But on my panel tonight, we have got Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, journalist Benjamin Butterworth and Reform member, former Tory party chairman Sir Jake Berry. But before we crack on, let's just check in again with things down at the mosque.
They asked him, why'd you turn gay? He said, I slept with so many girls, I got bored. So I ended up, I wanted to try men now. So he started trying men. Look at all these artists, I told you. Them man are walking around with rainbow hair. You got gangsters.
Get ready, Britain, here we go. It's tonight the night Starmer's lies finally catch up with him. Next.
Very good evening. It's just gone 10 o'clock. These are your top stories. The Prime Minister says that Britain must not shrink back from a chaotic world, using his speech at the Lady Mayor's banquet to double down on internationalism. In his annual address at Guildhall, Sir Keir Starmer accused opponents of pushing a corrosive, inward-looking attitude, warning that stepping away from institutions like the ECHR or even NATO would weaken the country. He also defended re-engaging with China, saying failing to do so would be a dereliction of duty, while stressing that the UK will always protect its national security.
For years, the narrative ran that China was the coming power. Well, now it has arrived, and the UK needs a China policy that recognises this reality. Whilst our allies have developed a more sophisticated approach, the UK has become an outlier.
Elsewhere, the head of the Office of Budget Responsibility, Richard Hughes, has resigned. In a letter sent to Rachel Reeves and the chair of the Treasury Select Committee, Hughes says that he wants to ensure that the OBR gets the chance to quickly move on from this regrettable incident. It comes after the OBR published a report urging an immediate change to its leadership after it mistakenly released an analysis of the budget early. Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch accused the Chancellor of using Mr Hughes as a human shield and has called on Rachel Reeves to resign.
The fact is, this is now turned into a political crisis for the Prime Minister and his Chancellor. This is a classic example of do as I say, not do as I do.
Resident doctors in England will go on strike from the 17th till the 22nd of December. Sharing the news on social media, the British Medical Association said that they gave the government a window to deliver sufficient progress on a deal, but that didn't happen. Experts expect pressure on services to be intense amid surging flu cases and staff sickness, but medics say that they've been left with no choice but to return to the picket lines. Prince of Wales told investors that Wales is where the cutting-edge technology, research and a skilled workforce all meet during a summit showcasing the nation. Prince William spent the day celebrating Wales's leading industries and position as a prime destination for national and international investors. The First Minister of Wales thanked the Prince for his steadfast support in promoting her country before he made his own note to his own connections on Wales.
Wales was the first place Catherine and I made our home together, on the island of Anglesey. And when you make a home in Wales, you join a family of 3 million people, and the sense of warmth and belonging is what makes Wales unlike anywhere else.
And Christmas is well on its way as Downing Street turns on its Christmas lights. The light switch on featured a 19-foot Norway spruce from the Cadeby Tree Trust in Leicestershire. Community hero Sam was given the honour of pressing the button, while the Prime Minister hosted a Christmas market-style showcase celebrating small firms, frontline workers and community champions. Small businesses are set for a bumper this festive season, with spending up 19% on last year, which could provide an extra £5 billion boost. Those are the latest GB News headlines for now. I'll be back in just under an hour, but now it's back to Patrick.
For all the latest from GB News whilst you're on the go, get the GB News app. Scan the QR code now to download or visit gbnews.com/app.
Good evening. Is Britain being led by pathological liars? Rather than a £30 billion black hole in the public finances, Rachel Reeves was apparently told there was actually a surplus of £4.2 billion. It looks like she wanted to raise taxes to increase benefits handouts, and she used the fictitious black hole in order to do it. She, or sources close to her, appear to have lied about this several times. In a briefing to ITV News on September the 23rd, in a briefing to the Financial Times on October the 27th, during the breakfast press conference on November the 4th, in an interview with the BBC on November the 10th, in a Guardian interview on November the 28th. Now, Sir Keir Starmer is also accused of being caught up in this lie. Apparently, he was told of the positive financial figures from the OBR, and he signed off on the budget anyway. Now, it's important to note the scale of this apparent lie. If you ask me, this will be the biggest lie since the Iraq War. It will be a lie to literally every single person in Britain. It will be a lie that the Labour government seems to have run with for about 2 months in the run-up to the budget. That is a coordinated, long-running whopper. Now, Starmer and Reeves are accused of not just lying to us, but to their fellow Labour cabinet ministers. They were allegedly under the impression that the finances were awful. She appeared to admit that she hadn't told them the full truth today.
Yet, even one of your cabinet colleagues is now saying that they indeed felt misled by you and the Prime Minister. At no point was the cabinet told about these better than expected numbers from the OBR. Why weren't you honest with them?
You would never expect a Prime Minister and a Chancellor to go through all the detailed numbers. The Cabinet are briefed on the morning of the budget, on the budget numbers. Of course, we go through things that affect individual government departments, but the whole information of the budget is not supposed to be provided until the Chancellor delivers the budget. Obviously, this time it was leaked early, but not by the Treasury.
Sorry, I don't know why she's laughing. It's incredibly serious, this. I very much doubt that the Labour cabinet ministers were told that there was actually a £4.2 billion surplus. I mean, we have the laughable situation where Treasury Minister James Murray was hauled before Parliament today and said on record that Rachel Reeves had been upfront with everyone.
The Chancellor knew on November the 4th that challenging decisions would be required on tax and spend. The subsequent decision to freeze personal tax thresholds for a further 3 years shows that this was correct. Mr. Speaker, the Chancellor took the step of delivering a speech before the budget precisely so that she could be upfront about the circumstances she was facing and the decisions that she would need to take.
I mean, this is Orwellian, isn't it? The Prime Minister was out today expecting us all to believe that both he and Rachel Reeves had been completely honest with us.
How can our viewers trust anything you say?
Well, Chris, I simply don't accept the starting proposition. I'm really sorry. When I was told that we started the budget process minus £16 billion, I didn't cheer. I didn't think it was good. I thought it was a very bad starting position.
No. I mean, the PM might have more luck convincing us all that they're telling us the truth if both he and Rachel Reeves hadn't been accused of being serial liars in the past. Everything from Freebiegate, Lord Ali's penthouse, Reeves's CV, whether or not she's a British chess champion, which, by the way, she isn't. I mean, it appears that every time he opens his mouth, something untrue comes out. Like this at Labour conference.
I was taken to a street to meet a woman who I was told had strong views on immigration. I knocked on the door. She invited me in. We had a cup of tea and a rich tea biscuit.
Well, it turned out that the woman he was talking about claims that Starmer did come round, he called her a racist and that she kicked him out and vowed to never, ever vote for Labour again. I mean, they currently stand accused of lying to every single person in Britain and their own colleagues, and so far, they've been unable to talk their way out of it. And after all that, after all the bluff and bluster, all these lies, well, it was the head of the OBR, a man nobody had ever really heard of, Richard Hughes, who resigned today. He resigned about an hour before I came on air. I mean, he was apparently forced out by the Chancellor, so the OBR's not very independent after all, is it then? I think this is terminal for Starmer and Reeves. I mean, from now on, whenever they open their mouths about anything, the public will just think they're lying. Let's get the thoughts of my panel this evening. Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, journalist Benjamin Butterworth, former Tory party chairman, now Reform member Sir Jake Berry. So, Carol, are we dealing with pathological liars here?
Yes, we absolutely are. You know, Starmer today implicated himself in the lies by backing Rachel Reeves, not just by backing her. He actually said he was proud of her budget. What, he's proud of the fact that she lied to the British people? No, she knew in September there was no black hole. She had been trumpeting that for months, that it was between 20 and some estimates of 40 billion. She knew that that didn't exist. In October, she knew there was a 4.2 billion surplus, and yet still she didn't even tell her own cabinet. That tosh we just saw on film now, where she said you wouldn't tell the cabinet. Yes, you would. If you knew 6 weeks before, of course you would tell your cabinet. But, you know, she is a pathological liar. We know. Why did we think she, you know, she lied about her CV, she plagiarised stuff for her book? Why would we think the lies would stop when she became Chancellor? But you alluded to it there. She has the second most important job in government. Starmer has the most important job. How can anyone ever again trust what either of them say? Because they have manipulated the facts and the figures and the state of our economy so they could nick money from hard-working people, hard-pressed families, and give it to the people who don't work in this country. You know, the British people have every right to be incandescent.
You will have heard the things that the Prime Minister said today and what was said in Parliament earlier. today. Do you buy this? I mean, how serious is this for them now?
Look, so I personally think he's in big trouble. I went and had a coffee with an old friend of mine in Parliament today. While I was there, I spoke to half a dozen Labour MPs. They are now talking about getting rid of Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves in January. This, I think, has been the straw that's broke the proverbial camel's back.
Do those Labour MPs feel lied to?
They do, but it's not that. It's if you look at a lot of the reporting in the newspaper, and in all fairness, I did see some of this in Boris Johnson's sort of end of days time, when ministers and cabinet ministers are being sent out on the media feeling that they are being misled, and then opening the newspapers or tuning into the same channel a few hours later and they just look like fools because they've been told something wrong by the Prime Minister and the Chancellor and they've been sent out there to sort of push the lie out, they get really, really angry. It's sort of not forgivable. I go one step further, of course. If Rachel Reeves, that slightly bizarre press conference she gave in Downing Street, I think it was the 4th of October, you know, if she'd have... maybe 4th of November.
4th of November.
4th of November. But if she'd have made those statements in the House of Commons, knowing that the OBR had started telling her, actually in August, Carol, as it happens, that she had this £4.2 billion fiscal headroom, she would, you know, by her own measure, she should be kicked out of Parliament. They had Boris Johnson kicked out of Parliament for misleading the House of Commons. If she'd have made those statements that she made in the press conference in Parliament, there would now be a parliamentary investigation into her.
Yeah, so I suppose the main point is, do you think that they are pathological liars? do you think that they are lying about this now and whether or not this is terminal?
No, I think you're really clutching at straws here for what was a good budget that a lot of people were very happy with.
Well,
the truth is
good if you don't work.
The truth is that, you know, £4 billion is a very small amount of money in the scheme of government. It wouldn't be sensible to leave the country so close to the edge, and she hasn't done that. But I think, you know, what you saw was £150 off people's energy bills, train prices frozen.
Yet. She has promised that. We haven't seen it. They promised us £300 last year off it. It didn't happen.
Well, that's what happens this year because they've frozen train prices for the first time in 30 years, and that's what it will save commuters. So I think that's a lot of good news. And also, Keir Starmer's right to be proud of lifting nearly 500,000 children out of poverty. That's what a Labour government should do, and that's what they're doing. And frankly, you know, trying to stir up all of this when actually it's been so well received. The head of JP Morgan building a £3 billion new headquarters in London. There is so much to be happy about.
So you know how Labour said that they were going to be the party of working people? Yeah? Now they're celebrating more jobs for bankers, aren't they? Because I thought they were the people. So JP Morgan, who else is building a big office? Goldman Sachs.
20% of our GDP.
Well, isn't that because the Labour Party's...
Really think how much Labour are clutching at straws here now. They are celebrating the banking sector and people that work in it opening more jobs, aren't they, Benjamin?
Good.
But they're people that they don't really like, 20%. It's not the average worker. It's not the bloke who worked down the pit, is it?
20% of our GDP comes from financial services in this country, and so we should be glad promoting that.
And I'm sorry, think that's why they've abolished the banker's bonus tax.
You're so desperate.
Can we talk about this lie about lifting children out of poverty? Rachel Reeves said on Sunday in this ridiculous round of interviews that she does that she wasn't going to have kids going to bed starving. That doesn't happen in this country.
Yes, it does.
You don't. I asked you last week and you didn't know the definition.
I wasn't here last week.
Sorry, the week before. Oh, it wasn't you. It was actually Andy Twelves. What the definition of relative poverty was, and he didn't know what it was. And relative poverty doesn't mean you're starving. What it means is that you have a roof over your head, you have bills to pay, you can pay your bills, you can pay for public transport. What you don't get are luxuries. That's what relative poverty means. So they're not lifting.
It's a dishonest definition of poverty. But I think the point is, look, I would have much more respect for Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves if they'd have come out before this budget and said, look, there's a bit of headroom, there's not enough. That's not what they said. They said there was a massive black hole, which was a lie. But I'd also have more respect if they'd come out and said, look, we're a Labour government, we're elected with a big majority. Yeah. What we're going to do is massively increase benefits for people because that's what we want to do. But Carol, let me finish, because there's an honesty in that. What they've done is they've pretended that there's this black hole. They've not even pretended, they've actually just flat out lied to the British public about it and then said, right, that's why we're going to whack up taxes. The real reason they're whacking up taxes, the black hole has been created by giving people who don't work more benefits. That's a straight choice. I'd never vote for that. I don't support that. But their supporters might.
Can we talk about that child benefit cap? Just a figure which will shock your pants off you. The total child benefit cap means a worker now has to earn 71 grand. to take on as the same as a 3-child family on benefits.
Yeah.
So if you've got five kids, you have to earn 90 grand if you're a worker. How shocking is that?
But it's not shocking, because also, of course,
is shocking.
if that same person has 2 or 3 children, then they'll be getting the benefits back that they're paying in for. It goes to everybody. And so...
No, it's means tested. You don't get benefits on 71 grand.
71 grand, you do not get child benefits. I'm sorry.
You don't.
What are you on about?
I thought it stopped at 100 grand.
No.
But either way...
Okay, another one.
The fact is that
a single parent of 3 who has a child, single parent with a child that has something like ADHD, they get 38 grand a year, when someone living on an average wage gets 17 grand. How can that be right? How can she be telling lies to working people, taxing them to fund that nonsense?
How can it be right that you have families in this country that can't afford to raise their kids? And also, this is why, you know, Jake is breaking with the Reform Party's line, which supports this, because actually we also have a childbirth crisis. We have one of the lowest birth rates in the world, and it's very expensive cost of living right now. This helps people be able to afford to have more children in this country.
So as you've asked me about...
This facilitates state dependency. This means that we have a government that encourages people not to work. That's what this means.
I do...
So as Ben's asked me about reform policy, just to be absolutely clear, yes, reform does support the removing of the 2-child cap if, and only if, you limit those receiving benefits to British people. If the Labour Party had come out and done that, I think I'd support it, because it'd deal with a whole lot of other issues we got as well.
Just zooming out from this slightly, final point on this, which is that, you know, there had been a reputation and a bit of a joke, really, about the idea that Sir Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves were liars. Now, it's a very difficult thing to say on national television. It's a very difficult thing to say, you know, because it's kind of...
Well, they lied about Southport.
Kind of gets you sued, right? So... but that's what we find different ways to say, you know, they speak mistruths, they speak whatever. Now, many people are reporting that this is a pretty naked lie, and one that does literally involve by definition, every single household in Britain. They've got a quite extensive back catalogue of what I would say look a lot like lies. And so now, going forward, whenever they say anything, people are just going to... people switch off, don't they? They just go, lie. And I don't think you can carry on like that, can you?
And they also have a phrase that you would have noticed in the round of interviews at the weekend and in Starmer's speech today. When they're confronted with the question, have you lied? He goes, I don't accept that. They both say, I don't accept that. It's a very easy thing to say, isn't it? It's taking us all for fools.
You might not think that they are, fair enough, obviously, you know, pathological liars. Also, no doubt that they would deny in the strongest possible terms that they are pathological liars. But in the court of public opinion, I think most people out there now really do think that they cannot trust a word that Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves say. And I don't think you can carry on like that, can you?
I don't think they're liars, and I think they have quite clearly an incredibly hard job to take over from, 14 hopeless years. It wasn't going to be easy for anybody. I think the lie is the one that people like Nigel Farage and Kemi Badenoch tell when they pretend that there are easy answers. There aren't easy answers, and I'm quite glad to have a serious and stable government.
See how that comment ages.
I don't know how you can say that with a straight face, Benjamin.
Yeah.
You don't.
It's the only thing straight about me, Carol.
Fantastic. And on that note, let's go now to the Great British Giveaway. It's your chance to win the biggest cash prize today. It's an incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash. It could be all yours. Here's how to be in it to win it.
It's the greatest cash prize of a Great British Giveaway so far. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, making 2026 your greatest year to date. That could get you that brand new car, extend and improve your home, take you away on that bucket list holiday, or just give you some peace of mind over the coming months. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Coming up, all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, just to say as well on the front of the Telegraph, it's not the only one. Reeves clings on as the OBR chief has been silenced. He's gone. Just on this quickly, he basically has been ousted for essentially telling the truth, which was leaking the information, whereas Rachel Reeves, who was accused of lying, has kept her job. He was due to do a Q&A tomorrow in Parliament, which he will now not do, the Treasury Subcommittee. He will now not do that. So he's gone, he's been silenced, he can't say whether or not Rachel Reeves is lying in Parliament. It's really quite an interesting development, this, isn't it? They also revealed that 1 in 3 school kids in Glasgow don't have English as a first language, but more on that shortly. First, though... Well, it's just a staggering story. A migrant suspected of a bomb plot that killed 269 people has won an appeal against the Home Office's decision to deport him. That's next.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Tell you what, we've got a story about potholes now that is just, I mean, ridiculous. Fed-up residents in a quiet cul-de-sac in Banbury in Oxfordshire say they've been abandoned after being told that it could take 103 years to have their pothole-riddled road resurfaced. 103 years.
I could not believe it. Absolutely farcical. Anyway, the locals on Horsham Close say some of the potholes are like craters, adding it's yet another sign of Britain's crumbling infrastructure.
Yeah, we're going to speak now to pothole campaigner Mark Morell, often known as just Mr. Pothole. I say just Mr. Pothole. My goodness.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible. They've used the figure from the alarm survey. That's a survey, a report that shows just how bad our roads are, and used an average figure. How naive or stupid, really, to actually put a figure in there rather than say it'd be done as and when, you know? I know the particular road. Because the main road, Sussex Drive, that it comes off of, I campaigned some years ago, got it resurfaced. Last year, I actually used some AI as a free app called Stand the App and drove around the 34 miles of Banbury on the main routes and identified 1,500 severe defects on their main routes. So the side roads, a number of those cul-de-sacs are well outside their life. I mean, if you look at the average road, it lasts about 20 to 25 years. And in the same report, in 15 years' time, 52% of all the country's roads will be structurally unsound, and therefore we've got a major problem coming up. And it just reflects the attitude, really, from politicians and authorities that we have to accept to manage decline.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. So that is the front page of tomorrow's Daily Telegraph. Some pretty shocking stuff on there. Yes, Rachel Reeves has clung on despite the head of the OBR going, again, despite him telling the truth and her allegedly not. But the other story there is that 1 in 3 school children in Glasgow do not speak English as their first language. More on that shortly. First, though, a Sri Lankan migrant suspected of involvement in an ISIS bomb attack that killed 269 people in his native country has now won an appeal against the government's decision to block his asylum claim. So he arrived in the UK in 2022 claiming persecution after he was arrested in Sri Lanka over the ISIS Easter bombings, which killed 269 people, including, by the way, British citizens. And that was back in April 2019. The Home Office initially refused his asylum claim, but after he argued that the original judge was biased, he's been granted a full hearing. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm joined now by Reform Councillor David Buckley. David, thank you very much. Tremendous to see you. OK, so why do you think that we have allowed an ISIS bomber who's apparently been part of a plot to kill 269 people to appeal his deportation here in Britain?
Well, I think what people are asking now, Patrick, is that why is he even here? I think you know people at home are asking a very simple question: why is someone suspected of involvement in a terrorist bombing, even in the UK at all? He should not be here. Our system is broken, and we've got people like this coming into here because our system is failing the UK people.
Yeah, indeed. And it actually raises several questions. I mean, we're looking there at boats arriving, small boats, not so small boats arriving. And obviously, we don't know, you know, by definition, anything about those people. But if we're allowing a Sri Lankan man who appears, allegedly anyway, to have blown up several different venues on Easter and killed several British citizens to live here and to claim asylum here, or try to, who else are we letting in?
Well, this is the big question, Patrick, isn't it? You know, the British public expect one thing above all, and that's safety. You know, is there credible intelligence that someone may be linked to terrorism? You know, that they can walk into this country free? You know, I'm not sure he came over illegally or with a boat, people, or what you were just saying. He came over through the asylum system. But, you know, I just don't understand how our intelligence is working to let someone in our country like this. We shouldn't even been talking about it tonight.
Yeah, so, I mean, he argued that the judge at a previous hearing was biased, and then in this case, they found a series of errors that were made, including missing his release on bail following an arrest warrant. They deny, you know, it's what are these judges now that are deciding to let people like this constantly appeal and try to stay in the UK? I mean, the scenes here that happened were absolutely awful. I mean, beyond awful. There was an entire church in Sri Lanka was blown to smithereens with, you know, scores of people inside it. And we now think that the person who is responsible for that, partly responsible for it anyway, is here in the UK, and a judge has decided that he can appeal his deportation, you know, based on a couple of legal technicalities. I mean, is this really what human rights were designed for?
Oh, absolutely not. You know, no one's saying we should ignore the law, but the law must protect the public first. You know, cases involving terror allegations should be handled urgently, decisively, and with the presumption of protecting the national security. That's a must. You know, I'm a very law-abiding citizen. We all are. But to even allow people like this into our country is just crazy. And the judicial system needs a real overhaul. It needs reform.
It just seems like a question of priorities as well, though, doesn't it, really? I mean, if there's even the faintest whiff of this... I mean, there are lots of other countries where I imagine that this particular individual's feet wouldn't even touch the floor. You know, I mean, he could be walking amongst us. It's just absolutely bonkers to me that we would put the British public at risk, and especially considering that British citizens were involved. British citizens were killed in this attack. You know, I mean, there were other cases that have emerged as well. You know, they were talking about it on the previous show. You know, where you've got people who were in Britain who were radicalised abroad. They could come and be like an imam at a mosque here, and then now they're off running some kind of ISIS terror cult in the mountains somewhere in the Middle East. You know, we've had a huge proportion of ISIS fighters who've been allowed to come back to Britain, and as well on top of that, it's emerged now that the government has only deported, I think it's 153 people as part of this so-called returns agreement with France. I feel like, you know, people are have lost faith, haven't they, I think, in the system?
I think they've lost confidence and trust in consecutive governments. But I think more than that, you know, the people's patience has gone. You know, people are tired of a system that seems to bend over backwards for suspects, you know, while leaving British citizens exposed. You know, our national security is a priority. And you touched on it there, Patrick. He isn't the only one walking around our streets. We do not know. We have no idea. We are totally out of control. And this has been consecutive government's problems for a number of years.
Well, we only find out about these cases because, all right, OK, so he's gone to court and someone's picked up on it. But again, I'll say, you know, how many others are there like this? How many others are there? And it's almost impossible to keep track on it. You know, it relies on someone, you know, who's does good journalistic work, being in the right place at the right time and thinking, well, hang on a minute, there's a bloke who's accused of being part of an ISIS play that killed 269 people who's trying to stay in Britain. You know, it's easy to miss this stuff. So then someone like that quietly gets allowed to stay in Britain. We are none the wiser. Disaster happens and we all just have to find out about it afterwards. It does seem completely bonkers. But look, thank you very, very much for your time this evening. It's Councillor David Buckley there, who's the chairman of Reform UK Windsor and Reform UK Councillor. I will just go now to a Home Office spokesperson who said the government rejected this asylum claim to ensure this suspected terrorist never sets foot on British soil. We stand to robustly defend this decision through the courts. Last week, the Home Secretary announced the most sweeping reforms to tackle illegal migration in modern times, which will make Britain a less attractive destination for illegal migrants and will make it easier to remove and deport them. As part of this, we are reforming human rights laws and replacing the broken asylum system. Coming up, all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, some breaking news on the front of the Daily Telegraph. 1 in 3 school children in Glasgow apparently don't have English as their first language. And there is more fallout for the Chancellor. That's next.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hi there. If you're off to the Mediterranean in the next few days, there will be a lot of dry weather to be enjoyed, but there will also be some heavy showers in places. And across Iberia and Madeira, we have got this cold front pushing through on Tuesday, so some gusty winds and heavy rain for a time. Thunderstorms following to Portugal as well. Otherwise, across the central Med, there will be some scattered heavy showers and thunderstorms, but mostly dry across Greece and Turkey, some warm spells of sunshine here, and quite a changeable outlook for the rest of the week, but temperatures around average.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Good evening to you. We've had a Met Office amber rain warning in place through the day across parts of South Wales and other rain yellow warnings across parts of Western Britain. It has been a very soggy start to December, but the rain is now starting to ease in the west. These weather fronts are moving through, but still a band of pretty intense rain working from west to east over the next few hours before that finally starts to head out into the North Sea. Further outbreaks of rain to come and go across parts of Scotland, but many areas becoming much drier overnight with some clearer skies. That will allow the temperatures to dip to 5 or 6 degrees in towns and cities, a little lower in the countryside. It does mean a bright start to Tuesday. In fact, overall, a much brighter day tomorrow. Certainly for the Midlands and Eastern England, we'll see some sunshine. Maybe a few breaks in the cloud coming through to parts of Scotland. Also, some wet weather across the Northern Isles initially, and showers will come into Western Scotland all day. Elsewhere, we'll be looking at showers developing also. A few, maybe for the west of Northern Ireland, certainly around the coasts of Western England and Wales, and along the south coast, there'll be some showers to start off with. And as we go through the day, those showers will tend to creep inland as well. So although not as wet as today in South Wales and South West England, obviously any rain falling here onto the saturated ground is likely to cause further problems. But the rain, at least a bit more hit and miss in the form of showers, and certainly much in the Midlands, Eastern England, good part of Eastern Scotland, through the Central Belt, dry and bright for the most part. A little cooler than today, but we'll have a bit more sunshine, and the winds will be lighter as well. Wednesday is also a case of sunshine and showers, and again, most of the showers will be focused in western areas, particularly western Scotland. It's a good chance that eastern England will stay dry and bright. And again, nothing like as heavy the rain across parts of Wales and southwest England as today. Temperatures, again, mostly 7 to 10 or 11 degrees Celsius, about average for this time of year.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration
to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight. Let's give you the first look at tomorrow's newspaper front pages. So we start with The Independent, they go with Starmer. We didn't mislead anyone on budget black hole. Yeah, OK. Then we go to the Daily Telegraph. Big paper, this, in terms of the front page. Reeves clings on as OBR chief silenced. It looks as though the bloke who told the truth has gone and the lady who might have lied has kept her job. But there's also a story here towards the bottom. English foreign tongue for 1 in 3 Glasgow pupils. Almost 1 in 3 pupils in Glasgow are not speaking English as their first language. The iPaper, OBR chief forced out after contradicting the Chancellor over the budget black hole. The Sun, gosh, OK. England star in quotes, rape arrest. A former Three Lions player is held at a UK airport. This is apparently an ex-Premier League player as well. So there we are. Right, OK, let's deal with the Telegraph's front page. So first things first, the head of the fiscal watchdog, which is supposed to be independent, has been forced out as Rachel Reeves battled to save her political career. He's called Richard Hughes. He was the chairman of the OBR, and he resigned. Sir Jake, do you want to talk us through how significant this is and whether or not this is actually fair enough or not?
Well, you know, the OBR is, first of all, meant to be independent of government. It was brought in by George Osborne after the 2008 crisis when the Conservatives first came to power in 2010. He said, never again should a government be checking its own homework. We need independent forecasts so we can ensure that government's predictions on things like public spending and tax revenues all add up. What appears to have happened, and the Treasury spokesperson has been very critical of this, that they seem to have really taken umbrage by the fact that the OBR has published a timeline as to when and where Rachel Reeves was told about this surplus that was built up, while at the same time she was telling the British public, oh, there's a massive black hole. And I think this brings into real question whether the OBR is in fact independent. Clearly it's not. If the Chancellor doesn't like something you can do, you force you out. Well, if they can force you out for this, why not giving a bad, giving a bad fiscal forecast which contradicts your worldview?
He told the truth, though, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Well, there are 2 versions of the truth, I think the Treasury would say. I trust the OBR's version because he's published all the letters. There's written evidence. Yeah. But the Treasury seems to be saying, well, you know, actually, that's not correct. But I think the British public's made his mind up about this, and it just shows the best thing you can do to preserve your job, apparently, in politics is to lie, and if you tell the truth, you'll be out on your ear.
Well, the other aspect to this is that I believe he was due to speak and answer questions at a select committee tomorrow in Parliament, and now he won't do that.
Yeah, so he was invited to the Treasury Select Committee, one of the most powerful committees in the House of Commons, as the head of the OBR. Now, if the Treasury Select Committee was going to properly scrutinise this, as I believe they should, and maybe they will, they can invite whoever they want to come and give evidence. But if we don't hear from the Treasury Select Committee, I sort of suspect we might be hearing a bit from in this weekend's papers.
Yeah, so that's why the Telegraph have led with OBR chief silenced, because he was obviously due to speak tomorrow. He would have been asked in very direct terms about all of this, and potentially would have, well, quite possibly...
Well, he just would have said the Chancellor was lying.
Would have basically said the Chancellor is lying.
I hope very much that Richard Hughes, now that he is out of the way and he doesn't have this job, that he speaks out. I hope he uses the papers this week and that weekend to say exactly what he knows and to drop this government in it even more. You know, this is what happens in totalitarian states. The truth just doesn't matter anymore. The truth is manufactured by the people in power, and that's exactly what this Labour government is doing. This bloke told the truth. And, you know, up until very recently, Rachel Reeves worshipped the OBR. Everything the OBR said, she
wants to give more power.
It was gospel for her. Yeah. And now suddenly it's telling the truth, and the truth is against her, and she wants...
Just on this, it echoes slightly here of the China spy scandal, where the former head of the Civil Service, the head of the Crown Prosecution Service, the Director of Public Prosecutions and the former head of MI5 all said that the China spy scandal basically collapsed because of actions of this Labour government. And we were told, don't believe any of those really important figures, just believe the Labour government. Now the OBR chief has come out and appeared to show and demonstrate, and some would argue prove, that Rachel Reeves is lying, and now he's gone and she keeps her job.
Well, what also happened is that the budget was published in its entirety before it was announced to the House of Commons, and it emerged in the last day or two that they had also done that before. It just happened that nobody noticed they'd published the budget. And so, you know, they did it twice. They put the link up on a previous occasion, just thankfully nobody realised that time.
But Richard Hughes didn't.
But he's the head of the organisation.
He would have survived that had he not published this timeline.
That is an historic mistake. It's unacceptable. To do that twice is clearly deeply incompetent. That affects the government, affects markets, and so, you know, someone has to take responsibility.
Benjamin, Rachel Reeves affected the markets, not the OBR.
Yeah.
Rachel, what she did...
I think anybody would get fired for that mistake.
She moved the markets, and that is entirely wrong.
If you worked in the city, you would actually be prosecuted for what she did if she's lied, because it's called market manipulation.
Yeah. Okay.
That would be a crime if you worked in a bank.
And, Jake, that has real-world consequences, doesn't it? I mean, it does. And unemployment goes up. You know, we know that 250,000 of Britain's brightest and best have left the country already.
It's going to be a very interesting thing, because he might actually be a bit more dangerous for the government now. Because people are going to be sitting down doing interviews with him. I mean, you're shaking your head, but well, we'll see. Well, yeah. I mean, it's got the potential to be anyway. I mean, if someone gets hold of him and does a proper interview with him, he could say what he likes now, I suppose. But let's just focus again. Just keep the Telegraph up there, because it's at the bottom of that. I'm going to read this as the Telegraph have written it, because we're having a bit of a debate about whether or not they've got their English correct here. But anyway, almost 1 in 3 pupils in Glasgow does not speak English as their main language. Data collected by the Scottish Government shows that 28.8% of students in the city's schools speak English as an additional language, the highest anywhere in Scotland. And the number has grown since 2019. Quite a stark figure, that, isn't it? Really, basically 1 in 3 Glasgow pupils are not speaking English as their first language.
It shows how the structure and the fabric of our country is changing with mass immigration. And that is a terrifying and frightening thing for a lot of people. You know, we already know the figures that by 2040, by 2030, less than 40% of this country will be white. Which is frightening, I think.
OK. I mean, I think sometimes when I'm in Scotland, I'm not sure I can tell what any of them are saying, to be honest. But I think this is good news.
You're about to get.
Hello, Twitter.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but Leo say you won't be able to understand the grief anyway. So, yeah,
Leo Cursor put me in my place, I'm sure. But no, I think this is good news, because actually it's not saying that they don't speak English. It's saying that they also have another language. And it is the nature of the modern world that people come from different countries, different languages. We traditionally have been terrible at having multilingual people. The rest of Europe, it's commonplace.
So instead of improving the way that we teach languages in schools, we've just imported a load of people who don't speak English as a first language.
They do speak English, and they speak another one. This is a fantastic sign of progress, that we have more language skills.
We got him in the end. He doesn't believe this.
I do.
Okay, go on, Jake, quickly.
Well, you think about living in Glasgow, that means you probably don't know a third of your neighbours, because they've recently arrived, and that will change Glasgow forever, and I'm not sure people who have spent their life living in Glasgow really want that. But, very quickly, let me also point out on the front page of the Telegraph, £2 million council houses spared from property tax. Why do we live in a country where we have £2 million property taxes? Buy the Telegraph, it's looking good tomorrow.
All right. Well, coming up, breaking news on the front of The Guardian. The very, very controversial Attorney General, Lord Hermer, has urged Nigel Farage to apologise over claims that he was anti-Semitic at school. I can't help but wonder whether or not Lord Hermer has a bit more to apologise for. That's next.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Very good morning to you, Christine.
Good morning to the pair of you and all the watchers and listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look back...
Oh,
you still got your hat. Well done.
Good on
you.
I think it's shrunk a bit, but still.
I can't believe it's 23 years ago. Can you?
Well, if you can't, no, nor can I. And people come up to me and say whatever they say, and I usually say, do you realise how long ago that was? Oh, 10 years. What? I said, no, it was 2002. It turned people's view of me completely on its head. And I'd gone into the jungle as one of the most hated women in the country, or disliked, whatever you want to say. And people suddenly saw the real me. And, you know, basically I'm quite nice, I'm fun, I'm kind to animals, you know, and when people get to know the real me, they think, oh, gosh, she's not this awful old witch that the newspapers have told us she was.
Oh, you're always a battle axe, Christine. You'll always be a battle axe. Come on.
You just have to be yourself. And if yourself, your real self, can't cope with the privations and the boredom, because they deliberately make sure that you're bored most of the time. Don't forget, viewers see a fraction of it. And they also make sure that there's a mix of personalities, so that usually there's there's that sort of stuff going on. But, you know, I have to say, a tad envious. First of all, they're in the Australian sunshine, which would be nice. And, I mean, what's not to like about it? You get flown out first class. We went Qantas. I have no idea I hope they fly the flag. I had a wonderful time. They flew my other half out, because I said, if I'm going to be away for 3 weeks or so, you will have to fly Neil out as well, because otherwise I shall have to put him into care. And so they swallowed that.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Here's the remaining front pages. So, The Guardian, OBR chief quits after inquiry into early release of budget document. But, of course, the other story they've got there is that the Attorney-General, Lord Hermer, has called for Farage to apologise. I think there is quite a lot for Lord Hermer to apologise for, given some of the people he's represented. The Daily Mail, the fall guy for Reeves's budget lies, a government with no shame. Again, they go for that. The Metro has gone for quite a funny story, actually. Striker clashes with right-winger. So football legends, basically, there's a video of Gary Lineker in, I think it's Thailand, walking with a young lady, and it turned out that that was, in fact, his daughter-in-law, and not, as was alleged, a prostitute. So there you go. The Times. OBR boss quits after PM's budget leak rebuke. We've got for the Mirror, justice for the lost victims. Cops consider corporate manslaughter charges over sub-postmaster deaths. And the Daily Express, now PM admits he's seeking closer links with the EU. I'm going to bring you a story now that's not on the front page. I'm quite surprised at that. The doctors, the resident doctors, junior doctors, are going on strike again. And they're going on strike again right in the run-up to Christmas. It's going to be for a week, I believe, finishing on December the 22nd. Is this malicious and wrong?
Of course it's malicious and wrong. You know, their union, the BMA now, is now full of Trotskyists. You know, they're not interested really in the money. They're just interested in messing up any government that's in power. And you know what they're going to do now? You know, this government, if they were actually real supporters of Labour are boasting that they've cut waiting lists. This is going to take them right back up there again. Plus, people will die. But I find it astonishing that these doctors who are going on these strikes can do this. You take an oath to do no harm, and they are doing harm to people. However, I read recently that on the last strike, a lot of the doctors supposed to go on strike did not do it because they thought it was too much.
Well, that's true. And this time, again, you know, in the run-up to Christmas, as Carol was saying there, that, yeah, there was, last time round, I don't think the strike had the support of...
Well, they were given a pay offer, and they didn't put that to a vote of members, which is what they should do, and therefore the Health Secretary said, well, if you were sure that doctors were so angry about it, you'd have let them vote on it, and they didn't, which is why he says that it's not behaving like a professional body, and it's behaving more like a sort of medical militia.
It really breaks my heart, this, because the last time that they went out on strike, it was November, shortly after we'd been told that we were expecting the worst flu season ever. Now, thankfully, I think that's yet to emerge, right? But anyway, that was a report. And now we've got Christmas. Now, there's a lot of people, many people out there will have relatives who are in hospital or who urgently need hospital assistance and will have a reduced service, probably, because the resident doctors are out. And I just find that absolutely horrific. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't think the junior doctors, resident doctors, whatever you meant to call them these days,
call them junior,
have the support of the public. And they say it's about pay, but they never talk, of course, about their hugely valuable gold-plated pensions they have. They never talk about the 20% plus pay rise they've had in the last couple of years from this government. I mean, it's just stepped over into greed because they know they can hold the country to ransom, and that's why the public don't.
They're trying to maximise the amount of damage by going on strike.
And they know, Patrick, that at Christmas anyway you have a skeleton staff. You don't have a full staff at Christmas anyway, so that's going to be reduced even farther. And they're always trotting out this nonsense about, you know, we will have cover and people won't. That's not true. There won't be safe cover. But I don't know how you can go into medicine, how you can train to be a doctor, and you can leave vulnerable people in danger. I don't get it.
And what I find really surprising is they say that, you know, they're striking to return the pay back to 2008 levels.
Nonsense.
But when these people went to university, it was only 2020, so they knew what they were signing up to.
But
so,
I do think,
carry on.
I do seriously think that West Streeting and Labour need to get more stick for this, because when this was the Conservatives and they were out on strike, the newspapers were all over it, the left-wing press were all over it, hammering them for all the poor treatment, the disgraceful treatment of doctors. It's their inaction, the Tories' inaction, that is leading to people dying in hospitals. Well, I'm sorry, West Streeting came out, gave a couple of interviews saying he didn't agree with the doctors, and that was that. Everyone moved on. Well, I'm sorry, but someone needs to be held accountable. Anyway, Dr Jack Fletcher, the chairman of the BMA's Resident Doctors Committee, said this: with the government failing to put forward a credible plan to fix the jobs crisis for resident doctors at the same time as pushing a real terms pay cut for them, we have no choice but to announce more strike dates, gradually raising pay over a few years, and some common sense fixes to the job security of our doctors are well within the reach of this government. So there you go. That's their line. I'll be very keen to see how viewers and listeners to this react to doctors going on strike again. I think it's for the week leading up to the 22nd of December. So there we go. Right, I've got another hour with you. Thank you very much for a wonderful panel, by the way. There's a lot to go at on the front pages. Rachel Reeves clinging on. The OBR chief has been silenced. There's a huge amount to unpack there. It looks as though that he's been forced out. He's contradicted the Chancellor. Has he been forced out for telling the truth? And the lady and the man in the shape of our Prime Minister who are accused of lying, they appear to be clinging on to their jobs. So all of that and much more in your next hour.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Good evening to you. We've had a Met Office amber rain warning in place through the day across parts of South Wales, and other rain yellow warnings across parts of Western Britain. It has been a very soggy start to December, but the rain is now starting to ease in the west. These weather fronts are moving through, but still a band of pretty intense rain working from west to east over the next few hours before that finally starts to head out into the North Sea. Further outbreaks of rain to come and go across parts of Scotland, but many areas becoming much drier overnight with some clearer skies. That will allow the temperatures to dip to 5 or 6 degrees in towns and cities, a little lower in the countryside. It does mean a bright start to Tuesday. In fact, overall, a much brighter day tomorrow. Certainly for the Midlands and eastern England, we'll see some sunshine. Maybe a few breaks in the cloud coming through to parts of Scotland. Also, some wet weather across the Northern Isles initially, and showers will come into western Scotland all day. Elsewhere, we'll be looking at showers developing also. A few, maybe for the west of Northern Ireland, certainly around the coasts of Western England and Wales, and along the south coast, there'll be some showers to start off with. And as we go through the day, those showers will tend to creep inland as well. So although not as wet as today in South Wales and southwest England, obviously any rain falling here onto the saturated ground is likely to cause further problems. But the rain, at least a bit more hit and miss in the form of showers, and certainly much in the Midlands, eastern England, good part of eastern Scotland, through the central belt, dry and bright for the most part. A little cooler than today, but we'll have a bit more sunshine, and the winds will be lighter as well. Wednesday is also a case of sunshine and showers, and again, most of the showers will be focused in western areas, particularly western Scotland. It's a good chance that eastern England will stay dry and bright. And again, nothing like as heavy the rain across parts of Wales and southwest England as today. Temperatures, again, mostly 7 to 10 or 11 degrees Celsius, about average for this time of year.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, the man who told the truth about Rachel Reeves' budget has been forced to resign. The lady who's accused of lying about it, of course, keeps her job. The front pages are all over Rachel Reeves and Sir Keir Starmer yet again. I've got some footage for you as well of Sir Keir Starmer as if he thought he couldn't get any less popular, saying that he's going to seek closer links to the EU. He has finally, though, described China as a national security threat, which is probably a few months too late. And 1 in 3 students, young students in Glasgow, don't speak English as a first language. Modern Britain.
It's the big one. Your chance to win a whopping 85